So let's look at shoulder and chin rest function, upper body construction, and see what shoulder rest setups might work for different types of shoulders. So this is a tricky subject. Some players are really opposed to using shoulder rests, and others are equally passionate about never going without one. Now, I'm not for or against shoulder rests, but I do think that if they're used, they should be chosen for and utilized in a way that looks to the individual player's body structure and works with it, not against it. What you'll find is that many players are using a shoulder rest that's not really built for their body type, or have it set up in a way that would work for someone else, but not them. The vast majority of my video chat sessions are actually devoted to shoulder rest setup. There's so much confusion about how to choose one, how to use it. It's such a big topic that I've decided to break this section up into 2 videos to cover this topic sufficiently. Also, if you would take just a second to like and subscribe, that would be most appreciated. It does help us out a lot and allows us to reach a wider audience. Ideally, the instrument should rest at the base of the neck, near the collarbone. The chin rest should fill the gap between the instrument and the jaw, and the shoulder rest should provide infill, support, and weight redirection under the violin. We've tended to fill these gaps with low chin rests and high shoulder rests, which brings the violin up to an unnatural height. If we brought the violin down in height relative to the shoulders, we could get a more natural positioning and a deeper, fuller, richer sound. Now, this could mean a taller chin rest and a lower shoulder rest, but we have to consider the player's upper body construction and how to reintroduce the weight of the violin in the head back into the body so that it flows into the natural support structures. For shoulder structures, I like to say that we have a combination of tables and easels. A table is any structure that's flat, and an easel is any structure that's sloped. A player might have a table going out side to side as well as going forward. They might also have a sloping easel-like shape going side to side as well as a slope going forward, or any combination of these. In addition, we can have broad shoulders or narrow shoulders side to side, and deep shoulders or shallow shoulders from front to back. And these will all help define the core of balance, the internal column that supports the body, and the reintroduction of the instrument's weight should ideally fall within the confines of this core. Now, classic examples of a table-table construction would be Isaac Stern and Pinka Zuckerman. You'll also see here that they both have really broad and deep shoulders, meaning that their cores will be correspondingly large. Now, a table easel setup with a smaller core can be seen in Victoria Molova, as her shoulders ride quite high on her ribcage, but she doesn't really have a table going forward. And a larger core can be seen in Joshua Bell. An easel-easel construction with a narrower core can be seen in Hilary Hahn, as her shoulders slope down both to the sides and in front, and a larger core can be seen in Josef Joachim. So we need to identify our core and use it to help support the instrument. A larger player would have more options for placing the violin, and a smaller player would have to hit their mark more directly. Someone like Zuckerman can place his instrument in a number of different places, and it will still fall within the core of balance, where most of us will have fewer options. Given this, a player with a table-table stance might be able to avoid a shoulder rest entirely, or at least have a minimal support, such as a pad, to keep the violin from slipping. For a player with an easel slope, especially one with a smaller profile, some support in guiding the weight back into the body will probably be in order. Now, I have 2 major issues with most shoulder rest construction. The first is that they tend to direct the instrument's weight too far off to the left side, not to the core of balance, but to the rib cage, which is a protective, not a supportive structure, forcing the body to create, in effect, a second vertebral column out of whatever muscle and bone it can scrape together. This second vertebral column works in opposition to the original natural column, and the fight between the 2 columns creates a lot of body tension, and forces the player to round the shoulder forward, the anterior tilt, and squeeze the head down. The second is that the feet are often the wrong heights for many players. A lot of players don't need much height on the lower string side, and quite a bit of height on the upper string side, but the construction just does not allow for the lower string side to get low enough, and the upper string foot doesn't go high enough to contact the body. You'll see this in players who tilt their heads, letting the shoulder rest determine their head position, instead of finding their healthy pose and forming the shoulder rest around that. So, how might we adjust our shoulder rests so they might work better? Let's look at 3 main adjustments. The first adjustment would be to bring the entire enterprise closer into the neck, so that the shoulder rest is closer to our core and not so far out to the side. First, try bringing the upper string foot farther back toward the end button, angled on the back of the instrument, for more of a column under the chin, kind of a pillar right where it's needed, so that it's connecting with our center and not off on the rib cage. Now this can send the lower string foot too far off on the shoulder, so the shoulder rest might need to be set to a narrower setting, and using a rubber band to secure the shoulder rest might also be needed. The second general adjustment would be to increase the height of the upper string foot and perhaps decrease the height of the lower string foot. This can be really important, as most shoulder rests simply don't provide the necessary post between the chin leading down to the natural support point, which would be here. If needed, you can attach small sponges or pieces of cloth to this end of the shoulder rest to give any needed lift. You can try this out by placing several fingers under the tip of the shoulder rest and lifting it up gently. If it seems to allow for extra comfort and stability, place some attachments at that spot. And the third adjustment would be to adjust the tilt of the rest relative to the feet to give a comfortable interaction between the rest and the shoulder. With all this talk, you might notice then that most shoulder rests are built for people with a table construction and a large core, which not many players actually have. If your shoulder rest feels uncomfortable, it might be that you're using a shoulder rest built for someone else. The above positioning ideas can help adjust it to your frame, but you do have to consider whether or not you and your shoulder rest can actually get along, or whether the two of you just need to part ways. Now, here's an interesting observation. Overall player height is no indication of neck length. Players will often say, I can't possibly need a tall shoulder and chin rest because I'm not tall. Well, many violinists are built this way, shorter but with a long neck, and it's often accompanied by an easel-easel configuration with narrow and shallow shoulders. Fortunately, there are shoulder rests that work for specifically this type of structure, and we'll look at these in the next video and dive into a matching of a wider set of shoulders to their rests in a later video. Finally, we have to face reality though. We're fighting a loser's battle in holding the instrument. The violin is placed above the body and is cantilevered out to one side, meaning that despite our best intentions and cleanest technique, our body is going to go off balance to accommodate this weight. For this reason, I highly recommend undergoing restorative work with an Alexander technique practitioner, a good chiropractor or massage therapist. Thanks for staying all the way through this. This was densely packed and we covered a lot of ground. Hopefully this will give you some food for thought and will lead you to find violin holding solutions that work for you. So, do you know someone who is looking for new shoulder rest solutions? If so, share this video with them. It might just prove helpful. Remember that we offer our buy one, try four option, where you can try 4 different wave Chinrest models and heights for a 30-day at-home trial. And I'm happy to do free video chat consultations in case you'd like another set of eyes on the situation. If you would, do like and subscribe. Please watch the next video, and I look forward to helping you on your journey to playing comfort.